we're just talking about defensive schemes. What I see with our defense, what he thinks our problems are, and I just told him it's defense. Our defense trigger a lot of things, and I told him he has to be on his hard about defense every day. He like beat it in our heads where we get tired of hearing him talking about it.
Pump those brakes. That was, of course, Derrick Rose talking about the discussions he had with head coach Jeff Hornacek about how to fix that Knicks defense. D. Rose earlier in the week missed a game without permission for a family emergency, so he said. It was fine by the Knicks for the event. So should we pump the brakes or hit that gas? Should Derrick Rose, voicing his opinion on the Knicks defense, should he be doing that when he's already had his own issues with the front office?
He is paid a lot of money, and he's one of the more promoted players, marketable players within this Knicks team that still has a reachable chance to make the playoffs. So yeah, he can, obviously release his opinions. I don't think they should accept them. I don't think that they should factor them in. He's a terrible defensive player. He's been an offensive-minded player forever. He just met Allen Iverson for the first time, who was his hero, who was the same ilk and had a fall-off, an offensive-minded guy who was incredibly impressive with what he could do with a very similar frame. And he said when they met for the first time, we didn't talk much. We just said hood love.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want this guy to be a max player. He needs to just call or send a text and leave. And even then, I don't know if it's appropriate. And then he doesn't divulge all the information to his coach. I'm not a huge fan of passive NBA coaches if you have players that need to be disciplined. Steve Kerr can do it because he has a lot of guys that are high character.
Good buddy of mine that I worked with in this business for a lot of years called it credits in the bank. If you've got credits in the bank,
right,
then you can go ahead and you can say what's on your mind. You might have a little bit more of a leash. Has he used up whatever equity he may have had by skipping out on his boys without that text or that call?
Remember, and B.J. Armstrong, his agent, who is probably a big part of the problem, that early on put it in his head to have self-preservation long-term for his family. He was under the cloud in Chicago after he said one quote that lingered for a long time, where I'm playing basketball for the future for my kids, to suggest that he's not going to go all out because he needs to be there for his children once he's done. No, you're paid $18 million a year in the NBA, and then you're paid in a $200 million Adidas contract to give it everything you got physically for as long as you can under contract. This guy is not who I want to walk into a room and instill leadership.